What if I told you one of the NRL's brightest stars just got blindsided, not by an opponent, but by one of his closest teammates? Yes, Reece Walsh, betrayed by none other than Pat Carrigan. This is the kind of twist you don't see coming, the kind of drama that shakes not only a locker room but the entire rugby league world. Stick around, because this story has layers of loyalty, rivalry, and shock you won't believe. Transition, strong call to action? Before we break it all down, don't forget to subscribe to Aussie NRL updates. We bring you the biggest breaking news, the behind-the-scenes drama, and the stories the headlines don't tell. Trust me, you'll want to stay with us for this one. Reece Walsh. The name says it all. Lightning speed, electric flair, and a superstar who's become the face of the Brisbane Broncos' resurgence. Fans love him, commentators can't stop praising him, and rivals fear what he can do with a ball in hand. But behind every young superstar is a support system, and at the Broncos, one of the most trusted pillars has been Pat Carrigan. A workhorse forward, Queensland origin star, and seen by many as the heartbeat of the club. To most people, Walsh and Carrigan weren't just teammates. They were brothers in arms. Which is why what happened next feels like betrayal. It started quietly. A whisper here. A rumor there. Insiders saying there was tension between Walsh and Carrigan. At first, fans dismissed it. How could two of the Broncos' biggest stars be at odds? But as the weeks went on, cracks started to show. Carrigan's leadership style clashed with Walsh's fiery energy. Where Carrigan wanted discipline, Walsh thrived on freedom. Training sessions reportedly got heated. Sideline body language hinted at something more than frustration, it looked personal. And then came the moment of truth. In one explosive behind-closed-doors meeting, sources say Pat Carrigan made a move that stunned the locker room. Instead of backing Walsh during a dispute with senior figures, Carrigan sided with management. For Walsh, it felt like a knife in the back. The player he trusted most. The teammate he believed would always have his back. Instead, Pat had flipped the script. Some say it was about control. Others say Carrigan was protecting his own role as captain-in-waiting. Whatever the motive, the result was the same: Walsh left hanging, exposed, and betrayed. Once the betrayal happened, there was no hiding it. Other players picked up on the tension. The bond between Carrigan and Walsh, once rock-solid, was fractured. Whispers turned into chatter. Was this the beginning of a rift that could split the Broncos' core? Could their premiership hopes be undone not by opponents, but by their own infighting? Here's where it gets interesting. Some teammates reportedly sided with Walsh, admiring his passion and spark. Others backed Carrigan, valuing his discipline and leadership. Suddenly, the locker room wasn't united, it was divided. And in a competition as brutal as the NRL, division is deadly. When fans caught wind of the story, social media erupted. Carrigan betrayed Walsh? No way. Walsh is too cocky, Carrigan did the right thing. Broncos are doomed if their two biggest stars can't get along. The debate was fierce, and it revealed just how much both players mean to the Broncos faithful. Walsh brings the highlight reels. Carrigan brings the heart. But together? Together they were supposed to bring premiership glory. Now, fans wondered if they could even coexist. This wasn't just about two players. This was about power, loyalty, and the future of the club. If Walsh felt alienated, would he consider leaving? Rival clubs would line up around the block to sign him. If Carrigan's leadership alienated the younger stars, would the Broncos risk losing their identity? The board suddenly found themselves staring at a nightmare scenario, choosing between two of their brightest stars. Here's the cliffhanger. What happens if Walsh and Carrigan's feud forces the club's hand? Who do you choose, the golden boy or the heart and soul? Believe it or not, this isn't the first time teammates have clashed like this. Rugby league history is filled with stories of best mates turning rivals, of locker room feud spilling into the public. The difference here is the stakes. Walsh isn't just a player, he's the future face of the game. Carrigan isn't just a forward, he's a leader who commands respect across Queensland. This isn't a small crack. It's a potential earthquake. So here we are. Reece Walsh, betrayed by Pat Carrigan. A friendship fractured, a locker room split, and a club's future hanging in the balance. But the real drama is only just beginning. Because in Part 2, we'll explore the truth behind Carrigan's decision, the secret meetings that may have influenced it, and the shocking possibility that one of these stars might not stay in Brisbane. And trust me, what's coming next will shake the Broncos, and maybe the entire NRL, to its core. Don't forget, this is Aussie NRL Updates. Subscribe now, because you won't want to miss the second half of this story. In Part 1, we revealed how Reece Walsh, one of the NRL's brightest stars, was betrayed by none other than his own teammate, Pat Carrigan. A fracture in trust, a split locker room, and a fanbase caught in disbelief. But the truth behind Carrigan's decision is even more shocking, and what happens next could change the Broncos forever. On the surface, it seems simple. Carrigan chose discipline and leadership over flair and freedom. But when you peel back the layers, the motives run deeper. Some insiders claim Carrigan felt Walsh's rising stardom was overshadowing his own role. As a leader, Carrigan prides himself on being the steady hand, the anchor of the squad. Yet every headline, every highlight reel, every viral clip featured one name, Reece Walsh. Could envy have crept in? Not the petty kind, but the sort that comes when leadership feels undermined by superstardom. Others say Carrigan was pressured. Behind closed doors, Broncos officials have made no secret of grooming him as the long-term captain. Could management have nudged Carrigan to draw a line with Walsh, to put him in his place? If true, then Carrigan's betrayal wasn't just personal, it was political. Sources suggest that before the fallout became public, there were quiet meetings between Carrigan and senior Broncos staff. Meetings where Walsh's fiery temperament, his emotional outbursts, and his influence on younger players were dissected. Imagine being Reece Walsh, discovering that while you thought you had a brother in Pat Carrigan, he was sitting in rooms discussing how to contain you. That kind of revelation doesn't just sting, it cuts deep. And here's the kicker, Walsh reportedly found out about these meetings not from Carrigan, but from another teammate. The betrayal was complete. The Broncos' locker room is no longer just a team, it's a battlefield of loyalty. One side sees Carrigan as the captain-in-waiting, the player who sacrifices everything for the jersey, even if it means clashing with a superstar. The other side sees Walsh as the spark, the genius who can win games single-handedly, who deserves freedom rather than restrictions. Every training session, every team meeting, the tension hangs in the air. And in elite sport, where unity is everything, that kind of division is toxic. Reece Walsh is not the kind of player to hide his emotions. His passion is what makes him great, but it's also what makes him vulnerable. When the betrayal sunk in, Walsh reportedly lashed out. Teammates say he became withdrawn from certain players, more fiery in confrontations, and visibly frustrated at training. Fans noticed it too. His body language in games told a story, less trust in support runners, more solo plays, as though he felt the weight of carrying the team himself. Was this Walsh's way of saying, if you don't have my back, I'll do it alone? Here's where things get really dangerous for the Broncos. Rival clubs are watching. They smell blood in the water. If Walsh feels alienated in Brisbane, offers will come, big ones. The Dolphins, desperate for a marquee star, would break the bank. Sydney clubs like the Roosters love nothing more than poaching a superstar. Even the Warriors, where Walsh once played, might angle for a reunion. On the flip side, if Carrigan feels his leadership is undermined, he too could be tempted. A Queensland origin star like him would be welcomed anywhere. Imagine the nightmare for the Broncos, losing one, or even both, of their franchise players. When the story broke, the media had a field day. Headlines screamed about betrayal, locker room rifts, and the Broncos civil war. Sports talk shows debated endlessly. Was Carrigan right to side with management? Is Walsh too hot-headed to be the face of the club? Can the Broncos survive if their two biggest stars can't get along? Every segment added fuel to the fire. Fans were glued to the drama, but inside Red Hill, the constant spotlight only made things worse. Here's the bombshell few saw coming. Walsh reportedly confronted Carrigan directly. Not in a calm sit-down, but in a fiery locker room standoff that teammates had to step in and separate. Witnesses say Walsh's words were blunt, "You chose them over me. Don't call me your mate." Carrigan, usually calm and measured, reportedly snapped back, "I chose the team. Not your ego." Those words cut through the locker room like a knife. The divide wasn't just speculation anymore, it was undeniable. So what now? The Broncos are staring at three explosive possibilities. Patch things up. Can Walsh and Carrigan put aside pride and betrayal for the sake of a premiership? It would take honesty, apologies, and leadership from the very top. Choose a side. If the feud is irreparable, the club might have to pick back Walsh as the superstar future, or Carrigan as the cultural leader. Either decision risks backlash. The nuclear option. Both players eventually walk, tearing out the Broncos' core and sending shockwaves across the NRL. Each path carries risks, and no one truly knows which way it will go. The NRL has seen big stars clash before. Think back to Joey Johns and his fiery teammates at Newcastle. Or the Bulldog civil wars of the early 2000s. But here's the difference: the modern game is a media machine. Social media magnifies every glance, every rumor, every comment. A private feud can become public in seconds. For Walsh and Carrigan, every moment is under the microscope. Every handshake, or lack of one, becomes a headline. So here's where we leave it. Reece Walsh, betrayed by the man he trusted most. Pat Carrigan, standing firm, claiming he chose the team over loyalty to one mate. A locker room divided. Rival clubs circling. Fans demanding answers. This isn't just a story about two players. It's about what happens when loyalty collides with leadership, when ego clashes with discipline, when friendship is torn apart by the brutal business of rugby league. And make no mistake, the outcome of this feud could shape not only the Broncos' future but the NRL landscape for years to come. This story is far from over. Will Walsh and Carrigan repair their bond? Will the Broncos be forced to choose between their superstar and their leader? Or are we on the verge of the biggest player move of the decade? One thing's certain, you don't want to miss what happens next. I'm bringing you all the breaking news, the inside whispers, and the shocking truths right here on Aussie NRL Updates. So hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with whose side you're on, Walsh or Carrigan, and buckle up, because this drama is only just beginning.